There's something to be said for just finding a way. Alabama 29, South Carolina 22 in Williams-Brice yesterday. We'll unpack both sides of this thing. This reaction presented by BetMGM. If you're a South Carolina fan or if you're an Alabama fan, you're just a college football sicko that lives and dies with their team every single Saturday. Make sure you're locked in right here. College football, nothing but college football year-round. We appreciate you being dialed in. Let's start with Bama because you won the game after all, and I think Bama probably I think most of the fan base probably feels good this morning. I don't know if you feel great because you're looking at that game and you're saying, JD, we were a 2-touchdown favorite, and we rolled into that game after reeling off a bunch of ranked wins. Like, we probably should have rolled by a lot larger margin. We didn't look like we played to our standard yesterday. I hear what you're saying. I understand that. I get all that. But just hear me clearly. In the context of the 2025 college football season, it's going to take some moments like this to go win a national championship, or in the context of the SEC to shrink that picture, to go win the conference title. Because I think in the college football public today, we're sort of bent on this talking point of, well, nobody's actually really that good. There's just Ohio State and Indiana looks good, but everyone else is just kind of mid. Anyone can lose any given weekend. And I hear that, I understand that. But this is the same Alabama team that a year ago we were just beating them over the head for losing games like this, for taking their eye off the ball, and for having what we would call, like, quote-unquote, low-character performances. Not saying that internally Bama had low character, but competitively, when you go out there and lose to Vanderbilt, lose to an Oklahoma team that you're not supposed to lose to, that is we did not play with direct composure or focus that we need to have to go play to Bama standard. And so I understand yesterday there's a lot to clean up. A lot to clean up. Like Kalen DeBoer told us during the press conference this week, hey, we haven't seen Bama's best yet. And you didn't see it on Saturday. They're still working towards that. Offensive line, not worried necessarily, but I think like that might kind of be who you are against aggressive defensive fronts. Like, he had 6 tackles for a loss allowed 2 sacks. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. I think they're capable of more, but it's something to just keep an eye on. Couldn't really run the ball. Your longest run of the day came from a Jeremy Bernard run that was essentially given to you. We got South Carolina laying off him at the end of the game to try and get the ball back to go score and tie the game. Had a Ryan Williams key drop that would have changed the complexion of that game. You had an explosive play downfield to Nicholas Harbor that was allowed. Like, there's a lot of things for Alabama to look at and say, nope, that ain't it, brother. That's not going to be good enough here. And we can say all that and we can pick that apart. We can overanalyze that to the point where we say, hey, Bama's, maybe they're not that good. Maybe the close win over Missouri, maybe the way they've flown so close to the sun, maybe Bama's not actually that good. And I understand why some people are going to do that today. I just think they're wrong. I just think at a certain level, like, overthinking is overthinking. And this Alabama team found a way to win when they didn't have their best stuff. And that's what it's going to take in college football in 2025. That's what it's going to take. It's going to come down to moments for every single team where you don't have your best and you got to find a way. And we can make Alabama look like they're a fraud because they found a way to win on the road in a one-score game. Or we can say, you know what? Came down to moments, came down to the fourth quarter, and the players that needed to step up, the players that you count on to be your playmakers in big moments, stepped up. Who'd you go to in the fourth quarter? Jeremy Bernard, the best player on your football team for my money, along with Ty Simpson, the best playmaker on your football team at least. What do? Crunch time, dial it up for him to go get that game-tying touchdown. 2-point conversion, a little eye candy here. Use Jeremy Bernard as a decoy. Ty Simpson hits you open man in the end zone. End of the game now. You got South Carolina with the ball, a chance to go win the football game at home, homecoming. I mean, this is essentially like South Carolina's Super Bowl. Not to dunk on South Carolina, but it hadn't been a great year for y'all. We'll talk about that more in a second here. But like, that would have made your season if you're South Carolina. It would have turned the entire year around for you in terms of how you viewed it if you could beat Alabama. Who makes a play, though? Tim Keenan, after Deontay Lawson strips it, falls on the football, Bama going the other direction, guys that you count on, guys that you deem to be leaders of your football team, making plays at the end of the game to go win it for you. And I don't want to oversimplify this, but I do think you look at Alabama, and there feels like a different level of ownership with what they are this year than previous years. Like, the guys making the plays at the end are the guys that have stuck around, the guys that have been on the forward-facing part of what Alabama football is. And I think that matters here. So you look down the rest of what Alabama has here. At some point, you do have to put 4 good quarters together to win the SEC and to win a national championship. And anything less than that is below Bama's standard. That's what you sign up for when you go play in Tuscaloosa or you go be a part of that staff. That's what it is, dude. That's what it is. So if you want to do that, again, you got to find a way to play a complete football game. The good news for you now, looking down the rest of your schedule, it's going to be a lot of opportunities to drill down on your best ball. Like, there's not a lot of games here where I'm looking at Alabama and saying, it's top 10 matchup coming to you. Top 5 matchup on. Like, there's not any of that left. You got LSU, no idea what the climate will be there after a bye week. We'll see. Oklahoma, frisky. They'll be playing for, you'd have to think their playoff lives. They can get past Tennessee, and we'll see what they are here going forward. But, like, it's a frisky game. It won't be a top 5 game. It won't be a top 10 game. It'll still be about Bama playing their best football, and their best football will and probably should be enough. Eastern Illinois, there's no Tony Romo or Jimmy Garoppolo trotting out there, so should win that game. Then at Auburn, again, frisky, back against the wall, on the road, all those things. There's a lot of, like, spot games here for Bama. Not a lot of, like, talent tests in my estimation. Now, Oklahoma could be that in some respects, but I think when we look at Bama, like, it really is the opportunity for them now to drill down on focusing on what Bama is here going forward, like the Bama identity, and putting 4 good quarters together, which sounds cliche. It sounds kind of like coach speak. It's coach speak for a reason. It's cliche for a reason. It's what it's going to come down to for Bama here to win what they want to win at the end of the season. South Carolina, there's a lot to unpack here. I just want to touch on a couple things here briefly. Lenoris Sellers is a superhero. He willed you into that football game yesterday, and it was awesome. And it, for me at least, validated a lot of things we said about him before the season, about the overall, like, ability and the talent and the way he can just totally break a game plan and break the rules of a game, quite frankly, with how talented Alabama is and what went Alabama's way in that game. The problem for South Carolina is Lenoris Sellers being a superhero is not a reliable game plan. You have a running back out there, your leading rusher as a running back. Again, Sellers was your leading rusher in the football game for South Carolina, but your leading rusher in that running back room had 19 yards. Your leading receiver had 54 yards. All of them came on 1 catch to Nicholas Harbor. You got to have more than that. You got to have some sides to go with the entree. That is Lenoris Sellers. And so the frustrating thing if you're South Carolina, sitting here going into the season, you're saying, could they be a dark horse playoff team? Do they have enough around Sellers to go get to where they want to go? They were knocking on the door at the end of last year because the pieces around him. Did they do enough in the offseason, both from a overall approach standpoint and from a personnel standpoint, to get over the hump? And the answer sitting here in the month of October is no. That's not even my opinion. It's just what the numbers say here. And so it's frustrating because so much was teed up for you to go make a real run at this thing, to get out of that middle tier of the SEC and push for the Tier 1 status. And that's why it's frustrating, because Lenoris Sellers is good enough to get you there. If it was just about Sellers, you'd be a college football playoff team. I understand he hasn't been perfect this year. I understand there's a lot of games where you're like, man, would like to see more from 16. I get all that. But by and large, he is a playoff caliber quarterback, ability-wise. And you haven't done enough around him to maximize it. And that showed yesterday. And I know he had the fumble. I know all those things where he didn't come through in the clutch and all that. But, like, at the end of the day, if you have more around Lenoris Sellers, you win that football game. In my opinion, you win that football game. So, Alabama, you haven't shown your best yet. Is there more in the tank that we're going to see here in November? The best teams peak in November, December, January. So maybe they're building to that. But you got to see it now. Got to see it down the stretch. South Carolina, it's frustrating because you have a quarterback who is phenomenal, and this year feels like they did not maximize him to this point. So we'll see what happens here the rest of the way. But Bama fans, South Carolina fans, get in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on yesterday's game. For Cato on the ones and twos, myself, JD PicKell, appreciate y'all, love y'all. We will keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time.